see now, you done fucked up, don't you? I see what I'm saying.
We are the victims of our own innocence. We didn't expect it. We were so unsuspecting. Some of us participated in it without knowing what we were doing. And to understand it, there's 200 years of history you're going to have to look at. 1400 to 1600. It's the major turning point in world history. At the end of these 200 years, the world would never, ever be the same again. Europe had come out of its bag. It had rescued itself at our expense. It had learned longitude and latitude again. Had learned how to helm ships. They had, in their search for Asia and the spices and the sweets of Asia, they had discovered Africa en route, the greater prize. We are the victims of our own innocence. We didn't expect it. We were so unsuspecting. Some of us participated in it without knowing what we were doing.
Big guy, I got the game in the chokehold like a slip knot. Too much ambition, I got too much drive. I'm probably due for a pitch stop. Black dot, reppin' the team, reppin' the squad like a mascot. Yeah, I'm the one, you know that I got it, but I still speak for the have-nots. Big guy, I got the game in the chokehold like a slip knot. Too much ambition, I got too much drive. I'm probably due for a pitch stop. Black dot, reppin' the team, reppin' the squad like a mascot. Yeah, I'm the one, you know that I got it, but I still speak for the have-nots. Yeah. It's been a hell of a run. I done bagged all of the women I wanted to bag. I probably should slow down and settle with one. Probably should hit up my mama and tell her my problem. She always wanna pray for her son. Tell her I got it, there's nothing your God could do for me. I feel much more safe with a gun. Look what I've done, just look at what I've become. They thought I was stuck in the mud, I done came up. They gotta pay like I weigh, I made them double the funds. Niggas be hating, probably cause they wifey like me and she wanna give me the buns. She got a friend, told her that she can come too because 2 heads is better than 1. My competition is none.
Sutek tried to line it up, and he was like, I don't debate y'all, y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Shawn because he's too disrespectful.
He is though. No, he really is though. I can't really, like you, bro, you cool, not a coincidence. I actually chop it up with cuz. But niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro, but we gotta get in the ring first. If you want to be disrespectful like that, at least disrespect me in the ring, bro.
Oh, God, bro.
Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like, I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. You know what I mean? Put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't need these. Fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like, it's like, wait, bro, talk like that. We gotta get face to face with you to talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, Peanut. You feel? Go ahead, I got my brother over here. Peanut, what's the word, my brother? What's the champ?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. But I'm older, I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not gonna get nowhere lying because that's what's gonna make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sutek, any of them people over there. They know it deep down inside. And I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dudes. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African, so don't ever say that shit again, famo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
So you heard it. If Shawn P want to debate, tell him to debate the champ over here, right?
Sutek wanted so this like it's a pecking order. It's a peck. So Shawn want you, and Sutek want him. You say PMF ain't on his
No problem. There's no problem, man. Let's set up a Sutek debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that one, brother. I love that warrior mentality.
That's how it's going. I love to tell Sutek, tell him. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. Have him pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. We'll make it pay-per-view. We'll chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We'll make it work. So, you heard it right here. He ain't ducking no favors, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He put this over here on y'all channel, and then when we get in other
Hey,
channels,
alright, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there. Nigga, stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga lie on me in my face, clown.
you gonna block me and I don't be
It ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan-African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't do PNF like that.
PNF, he trying to trigger you, brother.
Word the fuck up.
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, oh, word on the street, I'm ducking from John P. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little hot. He like that.
So he like,
It's your boy Shawn P in the place to be, man. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we're live. I got some information that we need to get to. And I also got some business that we need to attend to. So I do want to say peace to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you tapping in. Those of you who are catching the live, those of you who will catch the replay, those of you who will straddle in here a little bit later on, we appreciate you. The name of the show is No I in Team. Will Shawn P remove the video or take the strike? That's the name of the show. Now, originally, I was going to drop something live, but it's gonna be a separate thing. But before we actually get started, how many people enjoyed the Reading Rainbow episode today? Put a 1 in the chat, a fire emoji, or a spear if you enjoyed the Reading Rainbow from this morning, the episode of Reading Rainbow. Just let me know if you liked it. If you didn't like it, then you know what I'm saying, you can say it like, you know, it was trash. It's cool. But for Key Balboa, Peace, Gullah was good. Miss Ballard was good with you. Teddy in the building. Infinite Minds was good. Teddy, Vasa, Sutek there was a Sutek sighting. Sutek, I see that you on the prowl because you done uploaded something that I was about to press play on, but I'm gonna let you handle that because that's your coming out. But yeah, if you, what up, not a seat. Yo, now to see you crazy, yo. Target said I gotta catch the replay. I got on but had to jump off. Oh, okay. Business Plus was good. What's popping? Yeah, if you didn't if you missed the Reading Rainbow episode, you need to check that out. It's important in numerous ways. Oh, okay, Teddy. Yeah, you missing out. Yeah, that thing, you missing out on that thing, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. It's the asshole in me. It's the asshole in me. Like when you provoke me and you think you just gonna talk and you gonna try to like throw shots. You know, you throwing rocks and hiding your hands, man. I mean, I don't need you to like me. I ain't here to be liked. I'm here to tell the truth. And the truth don't care who like it. So it ain't going with none of that. I did see a few of y'all in there on the Reading Rainbow tip. There's some funny comments. Y'all got some funny comments because there's some things that y'all picked up that I didn't think that y'all would pick up that I kind of just let play. And it's trash. You know what I'm saying? What's good, Sunline? What's good, Khalil? He said, stop abusing special needs. Come on, man. Like the show, share the show, man. I'm trying to get this thing up before we actually get going. I am going to tend to the business that I need to attend to today. I'm not going to drag it out. I'm not going to wait till the 11th hour. I'm going to attend to what I need to attend to a day so you know where I stand and in a position I uphold. I can just really get right to it. But I'm going to wait a little further in the show to get right to it for obvious reasons. But while we're waiting on the numbers to increase, I do want to go ahead and properly edify the listening audience and those of you who will catch the replay. I'm coming from the hip of Speak Out in the Thundertones. Highly recommended book by Rob Bourne and two historians. So peace, salute to each one, teach one for always providing, you know what I'm saying, some African American literature for the masses. And they haven't stopped that journey in trying to help edify, teach everybody. Give me 1 second, because my air is chilly right now. Hit the nest. We're gonna turn you off, player. Yeah. So I do it from the cell phone. Control the thermostat. Home automation. It says, we have no city, no country. Let me turn it up. Make sure y'all can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me clear, because I don't have my microphone plugged up. In the last half of the 18th century, almost a quarter of the population of the American colonies was Black. It was natural for people who had been born in Africa or whose parents or friends had been born there to think of themselves as Africans. Advertisements for runaway slaves showed that large numbers could speak only the language of their native continent. For instance, in the Virginia Gazette, January 30th, 1752, stolen or ran away a likely young Igbo Negro man who was imported last summer, went by the name of Cuffy and can speak but a few words in English. Like this ad in New York Mercury, November 6, 1752, runaway, a Negro man lately imported from Africa. He cannot speak a word of English or Dutch or any other language but that of his own country. Like Georgia Gazette, March 7, 1765, runaway, a young new Negro wench named Sydney, so a female named Sydney, has her country marks on her breast and arms, talks no English. Georgia Gazette, December 3rd, 1766. Brought to the workhouse, a well-set, able Negro, fellow about 24 years old. He speaks very little English, cannot tell his master's name so as to be understood. Even American-born blacks thought of themselves as Africans. One more time. Even American-born blacks thought of themselves as Africans. They belonged to America, but America did not in any way belong to them. Listening to the Sons of Liberty cry out against British oppression, slaves in New England towns petitioned for their own freedom. We have no property. We have no wives, no children. We have no city, no country. One petition reminded the American patriots. Another in 1773, the year of the Boston Tea Party, asked for the right of slaves to work for themselves one day a week to buy their freedom. This petition in behalf of our fellow slaves concluded, "We are willing to submit to regulations and laws until we leave the province, which we determine to do as soon as we can procure money to transport ourselves to the coast of Africa, where we propose to settle." For 5,000 black men who served in the Revolutionary Army and Navy, freedom became real and immediate. It was the reward promised to them for fighting against the British. Thousands more were freed after the Revolution when northern states provided for gradual emancipation of their slaves. By 1790, when the first U.S. Census was taken, there were 697,897 slaves in the country and almost 60,000 free blacks. Powerless as individuals, these free Africans keenly felt the need of organization. In cities of the North and in Maryland and Virginia, they formed societies to help each other. The Free African Society of Philadelphia was organized in 1787 to support one another in sickness and for the benefit of widows and fatherless children. The African Society of Boston and the New York African Society for Mutual Relief had similar goals. The African Union Society of Newport, Rhode Island, was probably the earliest organization of Black people in the United States. Formed sometime before 1787, its members pooled their money to care for the sick and bury the dead. Their main goal, however, was to return to their homeland. Africa seemed especially close to anyone who lived in Newport, the leading slave port of New England. Before the Revolution, hundreds of vessels left its wharves each year for the coast of Guinea, its waves. Their hogsheads of Newport's rum were traded for men, women, children, one man for 100 gallons, a woman for 85. The slaves were sold in the West Indies except for a select few. These, branded with the letter P for privilege, were brought back to Newport, along with cargoes of sugar came to make more rum for the African trade. Even after 1787, when further importation of slaves was forbidden in Rhode Island, Newport's ships continued to carry Africans to the South. Many of Newport's privileged slaves had been taught to read and write. They worked as clerks and as wards or in their masters' courting houses, and as Christians worshiping their masters' church, worshiping in their masters' churches. They heard a good deal about the need to civilize Africa. In 1774, the Reverend Samuel Hopkins and a fellow clergyman, Ezra Steels, had sent 2 Newport blacks to the College of New Jersey, now Princeton, to train as missionaries. The war interrupted his plan, but afterwards, the idea of a Black Christian settlement in Africa there you go. So let me run it back. The war interrupted this plan, but afterwards, the African Union Society went to work in earnest on the idea of a black Christian settlement in Africa. Salma Nubia, the society's first secretary, was African-born. Brought to Newport as a boy, he won his freedom before the revolution. As secretary, Nubia was paid 12 shillings lawful money per annum, and also 5 shillings for purchasing paper, ink, quills, and materials for writing copies. There was no allowance for carbon paper. It didn't exist. Instead, Nubia copied the dozens of letters sent and received by the society and the reports of its meetings into a large leather-bound ledger. This volume and the latter records have remained in the possession of Newport's Black community for almost 200 years. When the Union Congregational Church, which was known as the Church of Color, united with the United Congregational Church in the 1963, the papers were loaned to the Newport Historical Society. The first letter in the ledger was addressed to William Thornton, a white man who had recently visited Newport. Thornton wanted to start a colony of American blacks in Africa, with himself as a leader. The correspondence that follows shows that blacks were willing to accept financial support from whites, but not their leadership. I'm gonna close it down. Mr. Thornton, sir, our earnest desire of returning to Africa and settling there was induced us further to trouble you in order to convey a more particular idea of our proposal, that a number of men from among ourselves shall be sent to Africa to see if they can obtain by gift of purchase land sufficient to settle upon. And if such land can be obtained, then some of these men shall return and bring information. The company then shall go without their wives and children to make preparation for their families. This plan is agreeable to us, but as we are unable to prosecute it for want of money, this is the only reason our troubling our superiors for assistance. We want to know by what right we shall possess said lands when we settle upon them, for we think it is unwise to settle in Africa unless the right and fee of the land is first made over to us and to our hires. Anthony Taylor, in the name of the Union Society. That's who said that. So I'm gonna stop right there. There was a lot of information that came out of that. You had the Newport Union Congregational Church, which was originally called the Church of Color. That is a historical society. You had Reverend Samuel Hawkins mentioned and Ezra Steels. You had this whole notion and idea of returning to Africa. In 1790, you had almost 700,000 slaves in the country and almost 60,000 free blacks. These African societies were busy being developed for the greater good of Africans so that we could bury our dead. We can help our women. We can do all of those things. Not once have I heard anything about wanting to be someone other than African. So I'm gonna pause right there. And I want to talk about something real quick so I can share my screen, because I don't like leaving y'all handicapped. Yep, the Revolutionary War interrupted his plans because I think he was forced into fighting in the war. I need y'all to like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we good. Africa City in Oklahoma, that's what's up. 1890s. Man, I ain't ate nothing all day. I hit the gym. It wore me out. I'm too lazy to cook, and I don't do fast food. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But anyway, Not a Coincidence has a debate. Is it this weekend? Not a Coincidence? You still in the chat? It's the 11th, Saturday. I think it's Saturday. I ain't saying we good about shit. What I'm saying we good for. I don't know what you're talking about. Because you was pseudo and I was beating your channel up and you didn't report my channel at all because I was beating your channel up. That's because you know what I'm saying? You ain't like them. You might have, you know, you might be more feminine and you are a real female. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you ain't like them. You cut from a different cloth. Yeah, so Not a Coincidence has a debate at 5 p.m. Saturday. He needs your support. There'll be more information that'll come out about the debate, how you can get involved in that. But trust me, he's going to need your support. Because the opposing view is going to show up in the numbers that they always do. And then try to tell Not a Coincidence that his information is trash and irrelevant and they don't know how to argue. So I want to take y'all to a place, and now to see, I'm gonna get you to come on and talk about that, and whoever else want to join here in a minute, because in about a little bit, I'm gonna deal with the business side of YouTube and let y'all know where I really stand, and then we'll go from there. So I wanted to talk about the workforce, the relevance of the workforce for Blacks in America, the beginning of the workforce, and has it migrated into what it is today. And I'm talking free labor and all of that, because this debate is about servitude, which was contractual. And so me being the type of person that I am is going to walk right into what Not a Coincidence is probably going to argue, but in a different way and with different sources and all of that. But he's going to have his argument, and we're going to make it really tough, because to me, Not a Coincidence, this is a primitive one, a autochthonous pseudo debate, because he holds this position too. Remember, he said that the people that came to America on those boats were slaves. They weren't servants. They were white slaves. So the significance of that is very important. Very, very, very important. All right, so, man, I just always got to show y'all some fucking primary sources. So what I want to do first is, before I even get into the bill, is I want to take y'all to a resource. And I just had to share this shit. So, you know, the source is in the description of the video, but let me take you here. Let's start here for today. And then I'm going to make everything else make sense. And I'm going to get back to the labor conversation. So here's a guide to slavery in North America collections from 1752 to 1864. This is a repository. For those of you who don't know what that means, it's a place that holds a whole bunch of stuff. So here's a quick abstract. The collection is comprised of various documents and letters from many sources which document slavery and the treatment of enslaved persons in the 18th and 19th century, primarily in the United States. Documents include several bills of sale, a memorandum describing the slave trade in Havana, 1783, estate inventories, public notices, letters, deeds, and will, and the indemnity bond A few of the documents are facsimiles, although acquired by the university library from diverse sources. They have been gathered into a collection as a matter of convenience. I need to mess some words up so I can sound educated. I'm not going to give you the historical note or go through any of that. I want to go directly to deal with what I need to deal with. So box 1, folder 1 is what I'm going to open first. It says it's a memorandum from James Seagrove to Messrs. Alexander and Co., Philadelphia, March 3rd, 1783. Report to managers of Stewart Nesbitt and Company of Philadelphia describing the state of the slave trade in Havana, Cuba, and urging the company to take part in it. Autographed letter signed 4 pages. All right, so you should be able to see the primary document. Seagroves in Havana, March 3rd, 1783. I can read that date. Memorandum for something, Alexander, whatever, from James Seagrove in Havana, March 3rd, 1783. These are primary sources that have been scanned in the facsimile form. And they're talking about the slave trade. These are American documents talking about the slave trade. The slave trade appears to have, to me, very fruitful, well, my bad, very profitable. All right, let me read it again. The slave trade appears to me very profitable, and as yet, but something have engaged in it. Few have engaged in it. Although the advantage is great, beyond any, to some in the West Indies, slaves may be introduced here under certain something. I don't know the next 2 words, but it says right here on this document, it says locations. Oh, okay. It says under certain locations, something. No, it says under certain something locations, either from Africa, the neutral or French West India Islands in America, something French or Spanish bottoms. So pause real quick. There's a letter from 1783 talking about the slave trade and then telling you where they getting this shit from. Peace out there. So we have a primary document in 1783 talking about the involvement of America, North America, in the slave trade. Yeah, they write in this effed up cursive. Yep, I get it. And it's a struggle, but we have it. So that's document number 1. And as you can see, they go, as Erykah Badu says, on and on and on and on. Box 2 is a bill of sale, Lincoln County, Kentucky, June 2nd, 1797. Documents the sale of enslaved man Peter by John Fitzgerald and John Robertson to Jonathan Forbes. Willis Green served as the official. Nathan Ferris is mentioned as a former enslaver. Nathan Forbes and George Forbes are listed as witnesses. It's a handwritten document in ink on paper, 1 page. I'm trying to make it where you can see some of the words. If you can make some of these words out because of their cursive, you're great. This is written a little bit different, so it's a little tougher to tackle. When you're scanning these documents, you lose some validity of the quality, but that's why you had those transcripts to be able to go back and deal with it. June 1797. We see that, we can make that out. And then everybody who witnessed this business that transpired. So again, another document referring to the slave trade and the participation by people that are here. All of this stuff is about enslaved people. South Carolina, 1844. Let me do this for Gullah. I'm going to go to New Orleans next. I'm just skipping around. But this is a resource that will provide us documented evidence for the behaviors of people against our ancestors. Says it right there. Whoever this is, Banwell, South Carolina, his something. I don't know. I can't read that junk. It said right here, the word Negroes is right here. $700 at that time? Shoo. I said New Orleans was next. Let me go to that one. That was right here. It's a bill of sale from New Orleans, 1834. You can read some of this. It's because it's a bill of sale. And I think, what is that? French? Some kind of weird ass. Yeah, French. It looked like French. The shit written in French. But it's available. What up, Kevin Troy? The K on your name missing. Hang in there, bro. You are one of the most well-read scientific literate men out there. They're obviously away from the truth. Yeah. It's all good, bro. You know what I'm saying? They ain't did nothing. They ain't no monkey stopping no show. But yeah, I wanted to show y'all this resource because you have people that act like documents such as these don't exist. And these are dealing with the slave trade and people's involvement. So y'all know where to find it, and those of you who know how I get out. Now let me start here, because a lot of these sources are just gonna build on each other, and I don't need to do anything more than just let the beat build. So I don't draw it out. Peace to brother Chris. Yep, district. Yep. That says regulations is Shawn. Oh, you could read that? No, I couldn't read that shit. Now you should have read it. See, it came with being read. All right, so real quick, man. One thing that I like about this source right here, right, is it's teaching American history. And if you haven't paid attention, there's this thing that people are claiming to be Aboriginal history, saying that it's not being taught and they have to preserve it and protect it and this, that, and the third. I saw a subtitle or some shit like that, and that's what was being said. But anyway, this article proposes some study questions for you pretty much to draw you into paying attention to the relevancy of the work that's in here and making sure that you can answer these questions to help you retain that information. So I'm gonna play some of this, not all, some of this, because remember, I'm talking about labor in the New World. That's my topic. And then in the middle, I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna deal with some business and bring people up. But hopefully y'all can see this pretty clearly or hear it. Let me know if you can hear it. If you cannot hear it, let me know. I'm looking in the chat. What up, Cujo?
Labor, servitude, and slavery. When the Virginia colony was founded in 1607, the majority of unfree laborers in the colony were indentured servants, men and women who signed a legal contract called an indenture that bound them to work for a certain individual.
Can y'all hear that? Okay. I'm gonna play it over again. Not a coincidence. If you're listening, listen to what he say.
Servitude and slavery. When the Virginia colony was founded in 1607, the majority of unfree laborers in the colony were indentured servants, men and women who signed a legal contract called an indenture that bound them to work for a certain individual for a certain number of years, in exchange for which they received room, board, and some type of education or training. During their indenture, the servant was legally subject to the rule of their master, although there were laws to protect servants. Virginia's spread out settlements meant that working conditions in actuality varied widely. No matter how oppressive their master, however, at the end of their indenture period, the individual servant was free to leave, and usually with a set of supplies and a sum of money adequate for starting out on his or her own way in the world. The second class of unfree labor consisted of slaves. At the beginning of the colonial period, records indicate that the most significant difference between slavery and indentured servitude lay in the expectation that, in the latter case, the individual would receive the sort of training and tools necessary to eventually take their place as a free person. In the early 17th century, race-based slavery for life did not exist in the Anglo-American world. Instead, where it existed, slavery was linked to the cultural and religious background of the enslaved person. Non-Christian captives taken in a war, for example, might be enslaved, but not Christians, regardless of their racial or ethnic background. Nor was slavery always a permanent and inheritable condition. In the early years of the colony, individual slaves were able to win their freedom by demonstrating proof of their conversion to Christianity. In addition, enslaved persons were sometimes able to arrange to purchase their freedom, and policies regarding the status of children born to enslaved persons remained in flux until the mid-17th century. From the beginning, both forms of unfree labor coexisted in Virginia. The funders of the colony relied upon a mix of incentives, free land in exchange for a period of labor, and the bad economy in England to encourage laborers to come to the new colony as indentured servants, while the colonists took captives as slave hostages during their frequent conflicts with the local native population. The first slaves from Africa arrived at Jamestown in 1619. Initially, the majority of the colony's labor force consisted of indentured servants, but over time, as the English expanded their participation in the Atlantic and Indian slave trades and market conditions in the mother country improved, the balance shifted. By the end of the 1670s, Black slaves began to replace both white indentured servants and Indian slaves as Virginians' primary source of labor.
All right, so he just read that whole little first part of that, and then they provide documents in this chapter. So this is why I told you that I liked the source so well, because we can go and deal with it. You've heard, not a coincidence, try to argue with people about these Virginia laws related to slavery and how you can separate servitude. So George Alsop, the necessariness of servitude proved in 1666. This is important. The Virginia laws are related to slavery, important. The indenture between the four adventurers and Robert Cuppy of North Nibley of 1619 is important. Right? Robert Beverly of the Servants and Slaves in Virginia, 1722. These additional resources are prevalent to understanding that there is a clear distinction and separation between servitude and slavery. But I don't know why those guys would like to influence an argument. Next up, again, like I said, the documents are right here, and they're just in line like that, right? I just brought this one up. Indenture between the four adventurers and Robert Coopy of North Nibley, 1619. This goes into that. I'm not going to read it because I don't need to put it on the screen for some people. There's a reason why. But I want to show you that we do have it. We do have what we need. And maybe we'll come back to that. But this is one of those ones that, ladies and gentlemen, we can obtain some nice little information from that. And right, Robert Beverly of the Servants and Slaves in Virginia, 1722. Their servants, they distinguish by the names of slaves for life and the servants for a time. Slaves are the Negroes and their posterity, following the conditions of their mother according to the maxim, partis sequitur ventrum. They are called slaves in respect of the time of their servitude because it is for life. Servants are those which serve only for a few years according to the time of their indenture or the custom of the country. The custom of the country takes place upon such as have no indentures. The law in this case is that if such servants be under 19 years of age, they must be brought into court to have their age adjudged. And from the age they are judged to be of, they must serve until they reach 4 and 20. But if they be adjudged upwards in 19, they are then only to be servants for the term of 5 years. These are things you need to know, because again, we're not slow. We know that there's a clear distinction, but we just have to do what we have to do. All right, so there's other documents, you know what I mean, indentured between the four, you know, it's other documents, but I'm working backwards here. Remember, I'm talking about I'm doing this way for a reason. I'm getting into labor, which is significant because really that's the conversation that Not a Coincidence is having, is one of labor, forced labor versus free labor, right? Same work, different outcome, different perspective, different worldview, different expectations, different outcomes. But anyway, Benjamin Chew was born on a Maryland plantation into a family with a history of slaveholding dating back to the 17th century. Benjamin was the patriarch of one of the largest and latest slaveholding families in Philadelphia. The Chew's ambivalence toward enslaved peoples can be found in the Chew papers. There's papers that they have, ladies and gentlemen. The enslaved were considered primarily to be property, but were also seen as people, albeit a lowlier race fit only for enslavement. Some Africans, like Benjamin Chew Jr., felt that the enslaved were better off than bondage than free. Will I Hear has made his escape to some other country, but the hardship he must experience from a different way of living than that in your employ will sufficiently punish his ingratitude. Benjamin Chew II. Much of the Chew family wealth created and sustained during the 18th and 19th centuries was founded on investments directly or indirectly connected to slavery. The financial ability of Dr. Samuel Chew to send his son Benjamin to law school in London was built in part on the labors of the 140 enslaved Africans he owned. Benjamin Chew would go on to acquire a total of 9 plantations in Maryland and the lower 3 counties, which is modern-day Delaware, At the Chew's Whitehall plantation in Delaware, the Chew papers have uncovered 60 years of information about enslaved Africans. The lives, families, and resistance to authority on those enslaved on the plantation owned by the Chews can be seen through the papers. The Chews. They didn't call them servants, servitudes. They were specific. The labor of 140 enslaved Africans he owned. Richard Allen, founder of the AME Church and its first bishop, wrote in the first sentence of his autobiography that he was born enslaved to Benjamin Chew. The Chew papers contain letters written by enslaved Africans that give a more detailed description of the hardship and heartaches they endured. Many of the enslaved people of Chew's plantation can now be identified by the name, location, and year of the birth because of the Chew papers. The Chew family held enslaved Africans in the city of Philadelphia and Germantown during the 18th and 19th centuries. Urban slavery offered the enslaved an environment where they could learn from, socialize, and worship with free blacks as well as whites. At any given time, there were enslaved Africans working next to free blacks and European immigrants at Clive Inn. So there was a distinction of what transpired in this labor force of the Chews. There was enslaved people working alongside free blacks as well as whites. The enslaved in the urban areas were used as domestic servants, trained as artisans, and even employed. So what's up with indentured servitude? Indentured servitude differed from slavery in that it was a form of debt bondage, meaning it was agreed upon term or of unpaid labor that usually paid off the cost of the servant's immigration to America. Indentured servants were not paid wages, but they were generally housed, clothed, and fed. The rights to the individual's labor could be bought and sold, but the servants themselves were not considered property and were free upon the end of their indenture, usually a period of 5 to 7 years. Nevertheless, indentured servants, along with normal servants, were often subject to physical abuse. They had to have their master's permission to marry, and found that the courts enforced their agreements if they tried to avoid all or part of their indenture. Indentured servitude was enormously common in colonial America. In the 17th century, nearly 2/3 of the British settlers were indentured servants, while 80% of European immigrants to America were redemptioners. Remember, I showed y'all that there were different types of servitude that was actually transpiring, and redemptioners was one of them. What are they? Immigrants who needed to indenture themselves to pay for their immigration upon arrival to the colonies, rather than one who worked out their contracts prior to their departure. What's the difference between slaves and indentured servants? Well, there's 3 types of indentured servants. And one of them, the majority of the people who came to America were redemptioners. British settlers were indentured servants, while 80%, again, not a coincidence, the indentured servants were British settlers. But 80% of European immigrants to America were redemptioners, immigrants who needed to indenture themselves to pay for their immigration upon the arrival to the colonies. So 80% of them people that came here, they needed to pay off their debt to get here. They didn't have the funds. Most redemptioners came from Britain or Germany and were imported to Philadelphia. The majority were young, under 20, and died before their contracts were up due to the rough conditions of travel and colonial life. During the 18th century, indentured contracts became less necessary as the cost of immigration to America went down and African slave labor became increasingly attractive to the large landowners of the prospering colonies. During the Revolution, indentured imports basically ceased and the decline continued after the formation of the United States. Prior to this decline, Benjamin Chew's household included indentured servants, paid staff. Do we got to go over that one? Domestic servants generally work long hours, 7 days a week for relatively modest wages. What the hell are you doing now? Yep. Crazy, ain't it? Crazy, ain't it? Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's move on. I ain't gonna read all of that. But yeah, so there's some little information about Cliveden and the difference between slavery and servitude. Remember, we talking workforce. So here's another resource. It's called the Palmetto Program, Perspectives in American History. It's got a primary source in here talking about indentured servant. Let's see what it's talking about. Of course, they're going to show you from the Gazette. They're going to deal with it. They got John Rolfe in here. But these are just little things, right, that we can always use to substantiate where we are. So when compared to, let me put it on the screen a little bit bigger. There you go. There you go, y'all. I know y'all got bad eyes like me. There you go. We'll come back to 175. When compared to other European nations, England lagged behind in colonizing the New World. This was largely due to the internal conflict and competitive wars with Spain. However, there were earlier promoters of English colonization. Chief among those was Richard Hakluyt, who, while he never traveled across the Atlantic, put forth strong arguments for what England would gain in establishing colonies. Due to the successful introduction of tobacco by John Rolfe in 1611, by the 1620s, Virginia planters realized both that tobacco could provide a stable economic crop for export, and that growing it required a labor force to cultivate the crop. To meet this demand for labor, planters initially looked to the European continent. Due to a rapid population growth, had left many people without employment, land, and opportunities. Trading their misery in the old world for the hope of a better life in a new one, many immigrants to America came as indentured servants in return for paid passage to the colonies. These indentured servants agreed to serve for between 2 and 7 years. During this term, masters provided servants with shelter and food. Upon completion of the term, masters agreed to give servants what were known as freedom dues, which often consisted of land on the western edges of the colony and a few basic supplies for which to scratch out a living. Harsh conditions, however, meant that nearly 1 out of every 10 indentured servants died before they obtained their freedom. Despite such bleak prospects, between 1.5 and 2/3 of Europeans who came to Virginia by 1700 did so as indentured servants. Students will explore some of the reasons of why people migrated, what they hoped to find, and what life in Virginia was like based upon 2 primary documents. One promotional tract to encourage immigration, and early 17th century letter home to England from the indentured servant in Virginia. They will also compare the motivations of colonizations that of the realities faced. So I'm not going to get into all of that, but that's just some little jewels there that'll drop. So yeah, give you the source. says it's gonna give you primaries. So Richard Frethrin, which was a letter to his mother and father, 1623. So this indenture, he tells his story. Examples of the indentures writing back to their people and telling them their story. There's two sources in here, primaries, that help you out. Hakluyt and Frethrin. Need I say more? Oh, I don't need to. Okay. All right. Moving on. So, hold on. Yeah. The origins of servitude and slavery in colonial America. Now, the origins of servitude and slavery in colonial America. How does a society fill jobs that no one wants to do? Yada, yada, yada. Okay. This right here deals in both indentured servitude and, of course, we get answers, and the transatlantic slave trade. But not to sound redundant, these primary sources actually end a lot of the discussion or the talking points. Plus, we have the, never mind, I'm not going to get into the evidence, but on Saturday, someone should have exactly what they need to substantiate the position in which they hold and argue it with evidence and not ignorance. And we'll see what the other person does. So there's also a clear distinction between servitude and slavery when it came to the black militia, and when indentured servants and slaves were forced into the American Revolutionary War. Y'all knew that, right? Y'all knew that, right? Because I said this because the indentured servants, they could get guns. The Negroes was beating the drums, blowing horns, and doing other bull junk. Remember that? How they always show the black people in all them damn movies, entertaining the white folk. Appreciate that, Sunline. But I felt like if we dealt with the bringing up the black militia, the mulattoes, the Native Americans, and the indentured servants, they make those distinctions during the Revolutionary War. So let me, I'm just gonna leave that down real quick. Nope, I already had that source. Everybody got that source. Let me show y'all this timeline real quick. This is a useful source. I know I'm boring some of y'all, man. Y'all here, a lot of people was just here for the bull jump. We're gonna get to the bull jump, trust me. I'm gonna get to the bull jump. Can you please tell me this site? Life in Life. If you know anything about my videos, Life in Life, I just sent your message. I mean, your comment in the chat. So I'm gonna deal with it now. Life in Life. Every source that I share is in the description of the video. So if you will go to YouTube, you're on YouTube now. If you just go in the description, you can have the source. We don't hide sources. We share the information. So here's a chronology of slavery, abolition, and emancipation in the 16th century. And it talks about a timeline from 1501 to 1600s. I know you're like, well, what? Huh? Yeah. But whatever. 1501, John Blank, an African musician, arrives in England as one of the African attendants of Catherine of Aragon. Blank would play the trumpet for the courts of both Henry the VII and Henry VIII at least until 1511. 1502, Juan de Cordoba of Seville became the first merchant we can identify to send an African slave to the New World. Y'all heard that? Juan de Cordoba of Seville becomes the first merchant we can identify to send an African slave to the New World. Cordoba, like the merchants, is permitted by the Spanish authorities to send only one slave. Others sent 2 or 3. 1504, a small group of Africans, probably slaves captured from Portuguese vessels, are brought to the court of King James, the Fourth of Scotland. 1505, the first record of sugarcane being grown in the New World in Santo Domingo, modern-day Dominican Republic. 1509, Columbus' son, Diego Colon becomes governor of the new Spanish Empire in the Caribbean. He soon complains that Native American slaves do not work hard enough. You know, they said that people do this, people do that. That these people did work. Okay, they did. They worked for what the fuck they needed to work for, but they didn't want to do the work that colonizers wanted them to do. Who the fuck wants to do that? 1510, the start of the systemic transportation of slaves to the New World. King Ferdinand of Spain authorizes a shipment of 50 African slaves to be sent to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Juan Ponce de Leon becomes the first European to reach the coast of what is now the United States of America, modern Florida. That's in 1513. 1516, the governor of Cuba, Diego Velázquez, authorizes slave raiding expeditions to Central America. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how we like to keep it a buck around this bitch? We keep it a buck. We don't sugarcoat or hide anything. It was Diego Velázquez who authorized the first slave raidings in Central America. One group of slaves aboard a Spanish caravel rebelled and killed the Spanish crew before sailing home, the first successful slave rebellion recorded in the New World. In his book, Utopia, Sir Thomas More argues that his ideal society would have slaves, but they would not be non-combatant prisoners of war, slaves by birth of purchase from foreign slave markets. Rather, they would be local convicts or condemned criminals from other countries who are acquired in large numbers, sometimes for a small payment, but usually for nothing. 1518, an insignificant escalation of the slave trade by Charles V grants his Flemish courtier, Lorenzo de Gouravad, permission to import 4,000 African slaves into New Spain. From this point onwards, thousands of slaves are sent to the New World each year. So it was at the 1518 mark, right? Shit started cracking. I don't have to go too far, man. It's a timeline, and you get every piece of the timeline, and when you get to the bottom, you just move on to the next points. Period, point blank. And you get all the way up into what you need to get all the way up into. Before 1400, slavery had existed in Europe from classical times and did not disappear with the collapse of the Roman Empire. So they deal with that. In the southern, look what it says. Trade across the Mediterranean and the Atlantic seaboard meant that African slaves began to be brought to Italy, Spain, southern France, and Portugal well before they discovered the New World in 1492. Where were they sending Africans to? They were sending Africans to Italy, Spain, southern France, and Portugal. Although various forms of unfree labor were prevalent in Europe throughout its history, historians refer to chattel slavery, in which Slaves are commodities to be bought and sold rather than domestic servants or agricultural workers tied to the land. Chattel slavery is the characteristic form of slavery in the modern world, and this chronology is concerned primarily with this form. So, yeah, you can do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. You got the source. You can go to Ignitus, deal with him. Who is this dude? Y'all don't know who he is? He was said to be born into slavery on a ship crossing the Atlantic from Africa to the West Indies in 1729. His earliest personal memoirs were of Greenwich, near London, where as a child in the 1730s, he was forced to work for the three wealthy sisters. He persuaded the powerful Montagu family who lived nearby to employ him as their butler before retiring to run a grocery shop in Westminster, where he died in 1780. He composed music, appeared on stage, entertained famous figures, literal and artistic London. Yep. He did his thing. He was an African man. Come on, man. Who is this dude? Usually known by a shorter form of Otoba. He was born in present-day Ghana in 1750s, kidnapped and taken into slavery. He worked on the plantations in Grenada before being brought to England, where he obtained his freedom. He was baptized as John Stewart in 1773, a name he continued to use over the next 15 years, during which time he worked as a servant to the artist Richard Cosway. While working for Cosway, he wrote his thoughts and sentiments on the evil and wicked traffic of the commerce of the human species, the first directly about abolitionist publication in England in English by an African, which was published in 1787. In London, he was a friend of Equiano and a neighbor of Ignatius Sancho. Friends, how many of us have them? You need resources, of course. The same site provides you with a number of links that refer you to some shit to be able to help you be able to deal with the foolishness. Remember, we're talking about labor. So there were 5 black leaders that shaped the labor movement. Does anyone know one of 5 black leaders that shaped the labor movement? What up, Sutek? What up, Paula Henry? I'm waiting to see if anybody's gonna be able to answer the question. I'm gonna ask it one more time. Can you name one of 5 black leaders that shaped the labor movement? Just one. If you don't know, it's fine. You can just simply say, I don't know one. If you're on your phone trying to Google, then you know, hey, what it is, what it is. Pure black is crazy. I mean, somebody got to know one. Nobody ain't got one? Let me check. It don't matter the time frame, Vasa. We just want one. I just want one. I don't care if it's 1979, 80, 1800s, 1900s. Just one. I don't care if it's up into 2000. Philip A. Randolph. Yep, Philip A. Randolph is one. Not a coincidence you had to look it up, huh? What about Mary McLeod Bethune? No, Dr. King didn't shape the labor for him. Philip Randolph, Vasa and Not a Seed got a good one. He is one. So born during Reconstruction to parents who had been enslaved. Mary McLeod Bethune grew up walking 5 miles to a Presbyterian mission school where a teacher noticed her dedication and recommended her for a college scholarship, setting Bethune on path to change her career and the world. Remember, there's a Bethune-Cookman school. Yep. Yeah, think about that. Why did Bethune name their school after her? And this some HBCU stuff right here. So in 1904, with $1.50 and 5 young students, the now legendary Mary McLeod Bethune started a school for Black girls in Florida that became today's Bethune-Cookman University. 2 decades later, Bethune was elected as the first women's president of the National Association of Teachers of Color. Yeah. Just a little bit. But Philip Randolph, here you go right here. Philip Millie. Born in the 1800s in the Crescent City, Florida, he and his older brother attended Cookman Institute, an all-Black institution of higher education known as Bethune-Cookman. It's funny, ain't it? The relevance of that. These people were important in the labor movement, and 2 of them come up out of Bethune-Cookman. Bayard Rustin. I ain't gonna say no more. I'm gonna let y'all deal with that. But Mary McLeod Bethune got something to do with him too. There's a young dude that they giving credit to too. He organized Amazon co-workers to form a union. That's a labor move. His is more recent, but he did it. Of course, you need to know about the African Americans and the African American labor movement. This is, I mean, I'm kind of building our way up to there. Started from back then and now, walking it up because we're talking about labor. This entire, listen, our entire existence is centered around the intricate pieces of labor. We're here because of labor, y'all. Some of us wouldn't even be who we are today had it not been for the word labor, bro. We would be somewhere else. Think about that. If Europeans never went to discover a new world, at some point, people would have had the audacity to be able to explore and come across shit. But if they didn't have the audacity to want to come to America, establish and build and corrupt and do all the shit that they were doing, they ain't no telling what we would have been doing. And Europeans probably would still be in a dark age. But you need to take a look at this African Americans and African American labor. I dropped the link in the chat now to see. I ain't hear nobody hit the link yet. And then this is one more source right here, which is an overview of the African American experience. It's just building on top of information we already talked about, and the importance and the relevance of all of these things to our history as a people. And that's why I don't want to beat a dead horse here. All right, so I'm gonna drop the link again, but I'm gonna change the topic. I just wanted to kind of get into that because that was important for me to do for everybody and not make it just about a shit show. So I wanted to make sure that I at least provided information for us to be able to deal with what we needed to deal with. Absolutely. I got a hell of a source about women in labor. The Free Black source, they talk about women in labor. We won't be nowhere without the women. Nowhere. The reason that I say that is because you had to have the women, because men, they would evacuate the premise. They looking for women. They knew what that new nanny, and I call it new nanny because it will be that new thing. You know what I'm talking about? You know what they say about the new nanny? Ain't no like new. So you call it the new nanny. Don't steal my word. Don't be out there on these other streams with my lingo, bruh. You heard it here first. Don't be stealing my shit. I'm copyrighting. Nah, I'm bullshit. I don't give a fuck. But anyway, man, so on to the business side of things. I don't want to remove the video. I want to leave it up. Yep. I want to leave it up. The reason that I want to leave it up is because I do have a legal position that I can take by leaving it up. The thing about that is, you leave it up, you get a strike on the channel, might not be able to go live for a little while, and that hinders information that needs to be shared and spread on our platform. Remember, this channel even though I'm always live, Ben goes live on this channel, Black Panther. Kofi does sometimes. He goes live. Other Massa Warrior Clan members have access to go live. They might not go live, but they have access to do that or upload videos and so on and so forth. So I'll be taken away from the other members of the Masi trying to prove a point to an uneducated fool about copyrights. And then I can cost him money. Because I'm willing to invest the money and the time and the energy into proving my point. And then when it's all said and done, suing him to recoup my shit. And he probably ain't got a dime to his name beyond $100, $200 that he might make off of YouTube, or 5 or 6, I don't know, maybe 1,000. I don't know. I ain't counting his pockets. Maybe he got some, maybe he cutting grass. He got a lot of that for sale or something. I don't know. But the information and being able to proceed to edify and educate our people and get them the information is more important than my own personal intention. Maybe I should have put it on Signs with Shawn. There I could go blow for blow because it's my channel and I don't mind it being on pause. I really don't go live over there. But because I did it over here, it has a different feeling for me and the team. Now, anyone mad about it? No, we all know what it is. Nobody's stupid. I want to play the video where he kind of gets into explaining the entirety of his explanation on his channel, but I'm telling y'all right now, I've already cut it up. I've already formulated it into something. And the reason that I did that is because he was hella disrespectful. I was bitch, you a bitch ass nigga. I was all of that. But when I was on your platform, when I came on your stream, you had a different tone. You maintained a different tone when I was on your stream. The minute that you would either boot me or kick me off, your tone would change. That's a weakness. You're weak. Then you try to justify why you reported the channel and all of that, and then turn around and said, I don't even report channels. You reported this one. And we know why you reported it, because you needed an opportunity to be able to try to get back at something because the pressure was on you. It ain't about me playing the debate, bro. You don't even want to release that debate, because if you release it and make it public to the people, it make Truth Searcher look really bad. It makes him look really, 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 really bad. In no way, shape, or form does it make Truth Searcher look good if you by releasing that and making it public, or whatever your plans are. And you damn sure don't want YK having a nod. And only people on your platform that watched it think that YK the Truth lost the debate. That's a problem that you actually have. So I'm gonna do a couple of things real quick. But first, and I damn sure don't want to do this, especially with you calling me out of my name, trying to sound all tough, talk tough on your platform and your channel. I definitely don't want to do it, because I know why you did it. You was doing it to be a punk. You was doing it to be a sucker. You was on some hoe shit. You was doing it to be on some hoe shit, bro. Straight up and down. There's no way, shape, form, around it. There's no way around it, bro. It's that. We all know that. We all know you trying to get me to debate. Everybody knows that. You want me to debate. You don't want to debate me. You want me to debate one of your other people, because you don't want to deal with the whole Egyptian and Tennessee shit, or the dinosaurs that you brought up, or all the other sucker ass shit you done said. So I'm live right now and I'm demonstrating this. I think it's still an issue of copyright strike. Hold on one second. So y'all seen me remove it, and I didn't want to remove it. Everything in me didn't want to remove it, because I don't give two fucks about that dude. Fuck him. Or whatever he claimed. All right, so let me see something. All right, so I just got something. Oh no, that was last night. Okay. That was last night. I had to edit the Reading Rainbow video. I already did that though. I took care of that. Let me go to YouTube. Remove request, contact information. Wants to give you an opportunity to resolve a copyright issue before your video is moved on the copyright strip. Oh, let me do this live so y'all can see it. YouTube can still issue a strike if they want to, I think. I ain't tripping. Remove request issued by Ad Power, contact information, boom. Aboriginal Power wants to give you an opportunity to resolve your copyright issue before your video is removed. View the option. I don't think it's gonna come up. I think they still have issues with that. I've already did that. Yeah, I've already done it. You deleted the video. Yep. So, oh, y'all can't see that. Anyway, what to do next? Do nothing. You can wait for the removal. At that point, you remove. Look, so this is why you don't listen to people on YouTube talk shit, because they're not gonna tell you the facts. He didn't even read what he was doing. Talking about 24 hours, and then he had to correct himself. Do nothing. You can wait for the removal request to take effect 7 days. At the point the video will be removed and a copyright strike will be applied to your channel. Delete your video. If you remove your video before the 7 days are up, your video will be off the site, but your channel won't get a copyright strike. You've already deleted the video. Remove the video before the 7 days is up. Then it says, reach out to the content owner who's requesting the removal of your video. Thanks. So let's reach out to the dude. Y'all can see my screen, right? Okay. All right, let me clean it up. So y'all know what the email says. So when he if he goes live and mentions it, or if his little minions is in the chat, y'all already got it. All right, so I'm gonna zoom in, let y'all see what I said. Aboriginal power, there was no need to strike the channel. However, we know what this is about. The Mossy is not a Shawn channel. It is a collective. And by your actions against him, you're trying to belittle the work of others. The video was removed by Shawn live on F. Handle your claim with YouTube like a man. And make sure you uphold your end if you ever cross his path. Peace. And that's as real as it gets. Now the antagonization of AP begins. Because I'm going to antagonize the fuck out of you. And everything you stand for. And you just need to make sure that you treat me like a bitch if you ever see me. I don't give a fuck if I'm in an airport. I don't give a fuck if the police right there. You better make sure that you treat me like a bitch. Because if you don't, you don't wish you did. Yep. You don't wish you did. Now, you could say that you was just talking shit and that you was just trying to sound tough, or you was just doing it for whoever, or you could bow up and be a tough ass internet nigga, or you could bow up even more and act like you a hard street dude. But we all know that's not the case. You admitted live on your stream that you're the type to call the police. You talk about boxing, bro. You don't box, you're not even in shape. Your tit is bigger than some of the women. Pause. So we know you ain't boxing. You ain't even got the stamina. You smoke. You're really gonna get your head cracked. So it is what it is at this point. The video was removed. Uphold your end, coward. Now you're gonna avoid me. I'm gonna be the person that you're going to avoid. Your second stringer, your partner in crime, primitive one, he's going to keep bumping his gum, talking about he want to debate. But until y'all come from up under your little safe haven, I'm not debating either one of you fuckers. I wanted a conversation with you. That ain't a debate. You scared of a conversation? That's what you're scared of? To be challenged on your bullshit? Talk about, I don't care if you put my other shit up, man. You be using my content. Listen, bro, we don't be wanting to use your content. You be making claims in your bullshit. So we pull your content to address your claims. We don't just pull your shit up just to be seeing what you be saying or listening to your shows. You know, kind of like how you do with Tariq Nasheed, where you'll wake up in the morning and all of a sudden you got a topic, but Tariq Nasheed being played. Now you FBA. Now you all on his dick, his nuts, like Dane Calloway's. You don't want to talk about that. All the content that goes around in the community is up for grabs. I don't know why people are beginning to act like they some weak ass people. I don't know where that comes from. Like, it's content. We all do live streams. It's up for grabs. If you have a position against the information that has been presented, you should be reviewing the content and dealing with it. But you know what you don't do? And I have never seen it. And Lucky pointed it out. Yeah, y'all be having some of Shawn talking points, but y'all never address none of the material that has been put forth on this channel. None of it. If you claim to be an Aboriginal in your community, indigenous to the Americas, not now one of you motherfuckers have came on the Mossy Warrior Clan show, grabbed a video and tried to challenge the information in the video. Ever. There's a reason for that. Then you got people like this goofball. I found 10 white slavery books. Bro, you put that in the chat. You put that in the chat on a whole nother person's stream. And we ain't seen the 10 white slavery books yet. You can't show us white people as slaves. We open them slavery books and it's going to start talking about servitude. And then we're going to be pissed off because you just wasted our time with 10 books. Because we know it. You didn't come in here and say, have you read this book? Have you read that book by such and such? Like, you didn't come in and say, like, You know what I'm saying? When I started the show off and said, "Speak Out in Thunder Tones." It's edited by Dorothy Sterlings. And then I said, Rob Bourne and Truth referred the book. And I started reading from that book to the listening audience. That's a book. When I posted today on our community page about history and stuff like that, coming up out of Eric Forner's book, right? Dealing with Reconstruction, that's a book. You didn't do that. Anytime we source material, we provide the evidence for the material. We never come in and say, I got 10 books on this, and then we don't know what the fucking 10 books are. We don't. And we know, yeah, exactly. Exactly. We know he ain't read them books. This nigga said he read it last night. White Slave Immigrants in America. So thank you. There's one book. So let's pull it up, y'all. Let's pull it up. Let's see if we can extract that book. I have a place that can provide us with the book. He said the name of the book is White Slave Immigrants in America. What a hell of a name. Who's the author? Who's the author? Who's the author? I'm waiting to see if he tell us who the author is. Who the author, bro? Who's the author? Who the author? Who the fucking author? Because the book ain't coming up. Or are you talking about the forgotten history of Britain's white slaves in America? Are you talking about white cargo? We already had Gullah on the panel and other people refute the whole white cargo book. So are you talking about white cargo, bro? What's taking him so long to answer? He was so quick to fucking type. What's taking you so long? Bro, are you referring to White Cargo, the book? How hard is this? Yeah, not a coincidence that I already did all that. Them niggas ain't, they don't come over here. He'll come do what he doing right here, drive by. And say the same shit he said on Not a Coincidence show. And never come on the panel. Because they fear being challenged on their position. I never seen it. I never seen this before. I never seen where people feared being challenged on their shit. Usually when people fear being challenged on their shit, it's because they ain't sound in their methodology. They don't have a grasp for the subject matter, and they don't have the evidence to support it. So usually what they do is tuck their tails and run. And it's sad. So shout out to True Story. I read this a few years ago. We are an African people. In this school picture right here, this says Kenya Nation. Uhuru Sosa Shul, 1977. It's kids, independent education, black power, and the radical imagination by Rickford. Rickford's a really good author. He did a really good job of writing this book. I wish I could write a book as good as a lot of the authors that I read. I'm nowhere on that level. I'm just a writing researcher. I want to take y'all to page 100 of his book. Smart brother. This dude's a smart brother. I did a presentation out of stuff out of this book, one of the chapters. So it's called African Restoration and the Promise and Pitfalls of Cultural Politics. He quotes Amilcar Cabral, says national liberation is necessarily an act of culture. Hold up, time out. Lucky debating over there. They don't know how to source anything. His opponent showed a screenshot. Hold up. Where's Lucky debating? He's on AP channel debating right now? Yo, Lucky ain't say shit to me, bro. Not a C. Is Lucky All right. Hold on. Let me see something real quick. And it's on AP channel? Who channel is on? Oh, it's not a real debate. It's on there. It's on dude channel. I ain't gonna call him out his name. Okay. All right, hold on. So. Okay, this live.
The brother said too interesting.
All right, so real quick, this live. This live. So this ain't no, it's private, it's this, it's that, this live. So it says the title of the debate is did Africa just get running to their town? What?
Some things that I want to address. Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm just letting you know your time starting now.
All right. So the brother said that Africans don't control their resources, right? It's an interesting point that the brother made, right? I want to make sure that we gonna make it. That's our guy, bro.
Or we get
all right, so I'm not really I'm not gonna deal with it. I know how to deal with this dude. I'm gonna deal specifically with if you are Lucky review this show, I'm gonna deal with your review of that. I'm not going over there and playing a video no more. I'm gonna have to figure out another way to extract certain things if it has to deal with information. Because other than that, I'm just gonna be trolling them. I'm gonna be trolling them. I got a whole video, but I ain't even wanting to show nobody right now. Already together for AP, and it'll be visible in the morning. Nah, I'm not. Listen, here's the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. He's going to do it to be antagonistic because I won't debate. Sutek won't debate. Not on that channel. If anyone want, if they want to really debate me, they can come on Not a Coincidence channel. They're not coming here. They don't want to come here. I don't know why he want to get beat up so bad. Maybe he likes it. He's used to being abused. Maybe his childhood, maybe, you know, he got whoopings all the time. So he misses being abused. But back to what I was saying. African restoration and the promising pitfalls of cultural politics. So in 1968, the younger residents of East Palo Alto, California, an unincorporated black town of 20,000, and the San Francisco Peninsula attempted to change the hamlet's name to Nairobi. The effort, which produced the ballot proposal that falls seem improbable, East Palo Alto was a patchwork of flower farms before the 50s and 60s when it became a haven for African-American refugees from Southern repression and Northern slums. It was little more than a sophisticated colony, a settlement poised between the ghetto blight and the suburban tranquility. Yet the rechristening boasted the reputation as locus of Blacks' consciousness and bestowed an evocative title upon its network of private schools. Let me pause real quick because before I ended that, Lucky, shout out to Lucky. This is on my heart, so I gotta say it. Lucky's learning and he's paying attention. And he's extracting things from these different places of people of influence that he deals with on the regular. And I know I ain't got that type of influence on him. I know Not a Coincidence does. I know he refers to Chris at some instances, but I know that he paid attention to something that I said do. Lucky wrote down the shit that he heard that dude say, which let me know that there are some things that he is listening to that he is taking into his conversations with people from different aspects of other people. That's why I said teams win, because as long as we're providing the right information to people, people like Lucky can go into retarded places like that and handle his business. Remember, when you go over there, you already lost. So your focus is to educate and teach. Not your opponent, not the chat. Educate and teach. Moving on. So the campaign to name a minute African American community after the capital of Kenya, an East African nation 10,000 miles away. So in short, you had young residents of East Palo Alto, California, in a black town of nearly 20,000 people that was outside the San Francisco Peninsula. They made an attempt to change the name to Nairobi. And that's the reason why you have Kenya on the front cover of the book. So they wanted to name it after an East African nation 10,000 miles away to demonstrate the power of Black America's rediscovered an African identity. I'm gonna say it again. The campaign to name a minute African American community after the capital of Kenya, an East African nation 10,000 miles away, demonstrated the power of Black America's rediscovered African identity. By the late 1960s, the refrain, "We are an African people," encompassed multiple debates about the future courses of Black life and politics. As culture came to be seen as critical terrain of struggle, independent schools served as key instruments for rewriting Africa's meaning to Black America. East Palo Alto's cultural and education renaissance began with a series of desegregation campaigns. Local activist Gertrude Wilkes led demonstrations, organized tutoring programs, and devised a plan to sneak East Palo Alto youngsters into the affluent white schools of a nearby district. However, white backlash at the patent flaws of the integrationalism led Wilkes to found Nairobi Day School, an effort to safeguard the minds, lives, and future of Blacks within their own communities. The recasting of Black identity through the recovery of Africa profoundly enriched this cause. The rise of Maulana Karenga and contemporary cultural nationalism appeared to complement grassroots struggles for dignity and freedom, yet overemphasis on identity proved deeply limiting theoretically and strategically. In time, fanciful notions of African reclamation clash with more radical interpretations of culture. I'm gonna pause right there. We are an African people. Russell Rickford. The book was written 2016. 2016. We are an African people. Think about the significance of that. 1960s, going into the 70s, there's a movement being made. There's a statement being proclaimed. There's an identity that we're on the cusp of. I'm Black and I'm proud. Civil rights in the whole 9 yards. Say it loud. I'm Black and I'm proud. They wasn't claiming to be Black and proud to be an Aboriginal or Black and proud to be anything else. The Black and proud and powerful movement had everything to do with centralizing and stabilizing the reclassification of your Africanness in the Americas. It was the emergence of your identity. I done froze up. Hold on 1 second, y'all. So this reemergence of your African identity gave you the ability to restore and reacclimate yourself to your, ways of the past. So we end up with works like this by Rickford. We end up with stories about historically Black colleges and universities and colleges. So we get the HBCU aspect. We start to go back and then we deal with Moss, the American Negro Academy. This book was written in 1981. It's The Voice of the Talented 10th by Alfred Moss Jr. There's a really good quote that I extracted up out of here that I really like, but I think I got it wrote down in something else. But this book speaks of the likes of Alexander Crummell, W.E.B. Du Bois, Gramsci, Archibald Gramsci, John W. Cromwell, Francis J. Gramsci, Kelly Miller, Carter G. Woodson, Jesse Moreland, Alan Locke, Arthur Schomburg. They said it's an imperative necessity What's an imperative necessity? Why is this an imperative necessity? Let's talk about it. So during the last 2 decades of the 19th century, Black Americans experienced a relentless attack on their social, political, and economical rights. This resulted in a decline in their status throughout the United States and especially in the South, where slightly less than 90% of the people lived. Beginning in 1890, measures designed to disenfranchise Blacks began to be written into the Constitution of Southern states. And by 1910, most Blacks had been eliminated as voters. It was in this same period that the racial segregation of Jim Crow ideas began to translate into law and steadily extended to all areas of life in the South. Theoretically, facilities for both races were to be equal. In practice, this was never so. And Blacks were forced to accept inferior services and accommodations or none at all. In 1896, the United States Supreme Court, with its decision in the case of Plessy versus Ferguson, legalized segregation, thus giving implicit support to all the theories of racial inferiority that lay behind it and affirming what was rapidly becoming a national approach to race relations. Consequently, from the late 1890s to World War I, the Southern states extended a codified the Jim Crow system. To ensure the acquaintances of Blacks, many white Southerners did not hesitate to use extra-legal violence as a form of intimidation. Most Blacks were Republicans with a profound lack of realism, hope for some protection from the leaders of their party. But the Northern industrialists who dominated the Republican Party were not interested in guaranteeing the social rights or political and economic independence of Blacks. So what do? These men were extending their businesses into the South and viewed primarily agricultural region as a source of raw materials and cheap labor. They also believed that their interests would be best served by building ties with white groups that dominated the economic and political life of the former Confederate states. As a result, at the time when Republicans usually controlled both the executive and legislative branches of government, Blacks witnessed the gradual but steady elimination of office holders of their race and the repeated defeat of the congressional bills designed to support or protect them. We're being attacked. We're being attacked. That's 1890s. We were being attacked. So what do? What do? This book talks about scientific racism early on in this chapter. Egyptology, craniology, phrenology, biblical criticisms, ethnology, and anatomy to prove the inferior of Blacks. It deals with all of it. Social Darwinism, all of that. Says it, doesn't deal with it, but it brings it up. Moss brings it up in his argument. Shameful. But let me try to see if I can find something here. The laws of the American Negro Academy. Hold on one second. I don't think I'm gonna get lucky and find it immediately. All right, so yeah, I did. I did. So it's on page 24. Crummell presided at a meeting which took place in John W. Crummell's home. The elderly clergyman explained the purpose of the gathering, inviting the 4 men to join him in establishing a Black learned society. He also shared with them an 8-article constitution he had written. In this brief document, the proposed society, called the African Academy, was described as an organization of colored authors, scholars, and artists. Crummell offered the following set of goals. Here's Crummell's set of goals: to promote the publication of literary and scholarly works, to aid youth of genius in the attainment of the higher culture at home and abroad, to gather into its archives valuable data, historical and literary works of Negro authors, to aid by publication the vindication of the race from vicious assaults in all the lines of learning and truth, to publish, if possible, at least once a year an annual of original articles upon various literary, historical, and philosophical topics of a racial nature by selected members, and by these and diverse other means to raise the standard of intellectual endeavor among American Negroes. Those were the goals of the American Negro Academy. So I want to see if I can put on the screen for y'all something that was in my presentation. Let me see if I can get to it. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. They selling these papers from $1,000 to $1,500. Some site is some gallery site. So I'm trying to see if I can find one to pull up that I can flip through. I know I got it somewhere, but it's on my other laptop and it's a Chrome and it takes forever to upload because I got so much stuff on there, presentations and books and music and all of that stuff. It really need to be cleaned out and updated like tremendously because it's trash. All right, so let me see if I can pull this up via PDF. I don't think this is going to be the whole thing, but this will be something that I can show y'all. So this is proof of, this is a primary document that I'm going to show y'all of how it looked when they wanted to advertise when they were having a meeting. Look where it's held at. The YMCA. They tell you the date and when, and it's usually like that. You see the corresponding secretary at the bottom right-hand corner. Some of the names that I mentioned also in the article. But if you check the presentation out, it's on the Mashi Warrior Clan channel. You can see this stuff for yourself. I'm gonna put this up real quick while I try to see if I can access something else. So hold on one moment for me, y'all. I'm really trying to find the papers. If I can just pull up one, find the papers. All right, so here you go right here. I don't really like this. Probably need to download it. Let me download it. I'll just leave it later. It downloaded the image. I didn't want to download. I thought I needed to download everything. Yeah, it downloaded the image. I need to do it like that. Yeah. All right, y'all can see a little better. Should be a little better. The sex question. Hold up. Oh, go back. Go back. We can get in there. We can talk a little sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let me get back to that. Let me show y'all how they wrote back in the day. Man, this thing ain't tripping, bro. Y'all can still see the screen? All right, cool. It's the site. This site trash, man. This site so trash. I mean, it's the same shit. It just ain't showing it. I wanted to go to the beginning. Let me see if I can get it on a different site. Yeah, this thing that made me annoyed. It got me annoyed. All right, so look at that. Occasional papers, they charged 15 cents. They had one on there that was 35 cents. It's probably because they had more authors on it. But their work would show up in here and people would have access to it. And you can read it on a day-to-day. And it was various topics that they dealt with during that time frame. And many people don't really, it's not that they weren't really like books or anything like that. They were literally like papers, like everybody would come together, like how we do on the Spills of the Mossy volumes, write our topics and then provide it. They talked about polygamy back then too. That's why I was trying to get back to the beginning of that article so y'all could see. But here's one. The Message of San Domingo to the African Race by Theophilus Stewart. The mention of the name San Domingo says McMaster calls up the recollection, one of the finest colonies of one of the noblest struggles for liberty and one of the grandest men and of one of the foulest deeds in the history of revolutionary France. So there's some shit about France. But these are examples. She said, I'm doing a show on that shit. Yeah, you always doing some. Oh, scientific racism? Why are you dealing with scientific racism, bro? It's a pseudoscience. Toussaint Overture, in his first proclamation to self-emancipated slaves of his country. This is in the 19th century. They talking about this shit. No wonder didn't nobody hop on the panel. Everybody at the debate. They still debating. Not a coincidence. It must be over there. Not a coincidence on his phone and he on his laptop trying to listen to me and look at the same time. Or that's dedication now to see. Let me go to something real quick. There's something that I think I can show. Hold on for a minute. Let me see if I can pull it up. So I just want to put it on the screen and let y'all know it ain't for play. It's a little blurry. Yeah. That's why, you know, it was blurry. Just so y'all know. We had the Rise and Fall of the American Negro Academy, which is a presentation that I actually did. And American Negro Academy, Inspiration to a New. I think this might be Kofi or some shit. I did this 4 years ago. So just kind of let y'all know where we were in our studies and what we were doing years ago. I wonder if not a coincidence or, hey, somebody go over AP channel, tag Not a C, unless he can hear. Tag Not a Coincidence and ask him is he gonna do like a an after show for Lucky. If not, then I'll just stay live and we can just do it. We can do it. And we can have Lucky come on and talk about what his shit was about. And if he need to share something, then he can. But I don't know if that'll happen because those shows usually last quite a while. But yeah, he was right here, yo. Play no games with me, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, so hold on one moment for me. Put y'all on a little brief. Yep.
Street Sutek tried to line it up, and he was like, I don't debate y'all. Y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Shawn because he's too disrespectful.
He is though. No, he really is though. I can't really like you, bro. You cool. Not a coincidence. I actually chop it up with but niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro. But we gotta get in the ring first. If you're gonna be disrespectful like that, at least disrespect me in the ring, bro.
Oh God, bro.
Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like, I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. I mean, put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't even be fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like, it's like, wait, bro, talk like that, man. We gotta get face to face with you to talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, peanut. You feel me? Go ahead, I got my brother already. Peanut, what's the word, brother? What's the champ?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but Lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. But I'm older. I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not going to get nowhere lying because that's what's going to make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sutek, any of them people inside. And I'm going to be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dudes. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African, so don't ever say that shit again, famo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
You heard it. If Shawn P want to debate, tell him to debate the champ over here, right?
Sutek want to so this like it's a pecking order. It's a peck. So Shawn want you, and Sutek want him. You say PMF ain't
It's no problem. It's no problem, man. Let's set up the Sutek debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that, brother. I love that warrior mentality.
That's how it's going. I love to tell Sutek, tell me. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. Have him pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. We'll make it pay-per-view. We'll chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We'll make it work. You know? You heard it right here. He ain't ducking no phase, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He do this over here on y'all channel, and then when we get in other
Hey,
people,
all right, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there, nigga. Stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga around me in my face, clown.
you gonna block me and I don't be
It ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't do the PNF like that.
PNF, he trying to trigger you, brother. And
bro, the fuck up.
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, oh, word on the street, I'm ducking from John Big. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little hot. He like that.
So he like.
All right, so I ain't get no answer from nobody, so I don't know. Somebody go over there and ask. I don't know. If not, I really stated my case and did what I needed to do. Nobody got questions, comments, concerns, or answers. But y'all quiet and scared, bro. I ain't never seen it. Hold on, I'm dropping a link. I hate when people make suggestions for what I should be doing. You do it. Shit. My bad. What we gotta do? Let me see what Sutek got right here, man. We bucking the system, man. We ain't finna let Sutek just play some. What you got, Sutek?
Buddha bless this beat.
Yeah, huncho. Look at my status. No, I'm not bragging, I'm not average. My bitch want a paddock. I bought her a whip and I told her stop nagging. Too much jury, my diamond is blasting. I bought it out back in. The club is packed in. Step in your city, we going in. Drop the top, let's blow the wind. Fuck the cops, we going big. Niggas out here hate the kid, cause I'm running up what I'm supposed to do.
Okay. Hey, that's Sutek. That's Sutek's his intro video he got is something about loose lips. Coming soon. Y'all got a little sample of that. I'm gonna play the whole thing. You got a little sample. All right, so I don't know who's still in the chat, but whoever did not watch the Reading Rainbow video, man, y'all gotta go watch that, man. Y'all gotta go watch that. Y'all gotta go get that knowledge. Go get that Reading Rainbow knowledge. For sure. What up, Teddy? All right, I'm gonna see what they're gonna do on a after show. I'm not going over there on dude shit. Fuck him. If they do one, man, I guess I'll get a notification. I was gonna stay live and then kind of rock out with them, but they ain't got nothing. I ain't finna talk for no whole another hour. I done did what I needed to do. I appreciate everybody coming through, man. Make sure y'all like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend. Go catch the other business that we put up, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening, man.
Now you see now, you done fucked up.